Hello, this is Ronald Allen, managing change through effective communications. Today's topic, as simple as having a conversation. And if you think any conversation you have, whether it's with your significant other, your parents, a school teacher, supervisor, manager, and even the dog and the cat, you are mistaken, because there is really no such thing as a simple conversation. And why? Well, as we have our trusty notes with us today, I'm sure all of you who are familiar with my live chats will have your pens and pads to take down your own observations and your perspectives on how you engage. That's why we call this managing change through strategic interventions. I have to say thank you to those of you who recognize that I was actually off the air, as one person said. They didn't get my memo that I was taking a break. Alas, I am not in the financial position to not have a day job. So with the schedule that changed, I had to change my own live chat. So I will continue. Of course, you can go to Ronald M. Allen, and always use the M because there are a lot of Ronald Allens out there, on YouTube, also on our Facebook, and you'll see all the archived live chats. They are, of course, for free. And as we continue and prepare for 2019, our communication will continue to be as clear as possible, utilizing all this wonderful technology, which I enjoy. So today's discussion, the simplicity or the simple act of communication, and how we underestimate. And you know, from the time I was doing terrestrial radio programming in the mortgage banking days, I always like to give the stake up front. Why? I think the respectable thing to do, including when you go to a restaurant, is to tip up front. Because now you're telling the people, this is the value I'm subscribing, I'm giving you. Now let's get into the details. And more importantly, how does it impact you? How do you interpret? And certainly, since we're talking about communication, which is really an intangible, yet it produces everything tangible that we see, as opposed to real estate, which of course, you're walking in, doing your analysis, doing your market studies, looking at what rents, leases, triple nets you might secure, so that the back end is already, the profit is already built into the negotiations. So if you take just that simple analogy, comparison if you will, and look at communications, my tip is, every time you're going to speak with someone, are you aware of the position, the mental state that they're in to receive your information? And have you prepared your information so that it would be received in an acceptable, favorable manner? So we're walking in being aware, cautious of who we're communicating with, what their position might be. Maybe we've got some intelligence on that. And we're realizing that the heavy lifting is always done up front. Forget about cultural differences, language barriers. Just our minds themselves are scrambled in 1,000,001 directions. And it's not that it's any more difficult. The stake is, have you prepared the platform, the medium, the environment? Have you prepared it to be receptive to what you're about to say? And only you can really make that judgment, because life will send back a response, and then you'll say, okay, I got a 60, 70, I got a 90%, I got 115%. When I do my coaching, for example, I'm constantly concerned and I'm writing down furiously. I had a coaching session this afternoon. And I was really concerned because the gentleman I'm working with is high-end technology, pharmaceuticals. And I'm like, my goodness, am I asking the right questions? And what I found myself doing, and perhaps you can ask yourself these questions. What are you saying to yourself, how are you listening to the conversation? Not what you want to say, not how you want the outcome, not how you want to respond to the person's comments. How you're actually, we call it active listening. As you're writing down, you're processing what you're listening to. So when we talk about any communication level, we're walking in, realizing that the other person has an environment that they're in, a state, if you will. We'll talk about that with strategic interventions, with our other set of work that we do.